Hey, welcome back. We have a couple pens here just in from the Right Choice Paint Company. A day late for my top 10 budget EDC pen video, so all good. I had one here, but hang on one sec. Let me pause and I'll open this up. All right, I got the traction I was looking for there. Yeah, a day late for that video, but all good. Still finished number one, which is amazing. You know, these do require a little bit of tinkering to make them top, but still really good pens. So we got two in here. One is the copper sort of plain Jane. And I have all of my top 10 pens right here across the side here. So let's grab the one that finished in number one and compare it, because I've been wanting to see what these pens were like once you get them in a nicer or a heavier metal. Ooh, that is really nice. All right, let me just double check which spring I used for this, and then we'll movie magic a similar one out here for this guy. Bam, got a couple out here. It does just, the extra weight feels really good. This one's a full copper, and then this one over here actually has some zirconium parts, and it has the milled copper on it. So that's pretty sweet. Wow. Check that out. That pen only costs $100, and this only costs $50 bucks, 49 bucks. This is pretty crazy how good his pens are for the price. I did hear from someone that the Energel tips are pretty choice, I guess because the noses are made for, wow, that's really nice. I really like, interesting difference on the button here where he blackens it with the tie and then mills it. It looks very different than this sort of uniform look there. I'm curious what he does on the Zirc. Looks all blackened. Oh man, that one feels good. Let's throw the lighter nose in this one too. Just put this over here. Looks like it's the same spring. You know what? It's a slightly different spring. There's a slight difference there. So he's doing something different on those. Oh, is this one an Energel? No, this is a G2, right? That's a Pilot G2. All right, got excited for a second there. All right, we'll throw this in. Anyways, I heard the nose for the Energel, because it's made for that refill, you know, a little differently, has a little less tip wiggle potentially, or had no tip wiggle. I don't know if the person had something to compare to. This one feels like, honestly, this spring felt just as good, if not better. These springs I think are a little stronger, but this feels pretty darn good. And that pen is quite stunning. I kind of want to swap some of these parts onto the titanium one. So this came with a Zirc Top Cat bolt and nose. And but this was kind of the config I was most interested in comparing. So let's get this guy back together. We'll do a little handwriting side by side. Not that we're going to be looking to judge my terrible handwriting, hopefully, but I'm sure you will. And then we'll do a weigh in, because this one's got some milling out of it. Gosh, I kind of really liked this one with the original spring, so I might just swap that back really quickly. Sorry for all the tinkering, and then we'll get into a little more. There are a lot of variables that go into whether springs feel good. We won't go into too much today, but yeah, that just feels solid to me. So, all right, let's grab a pad and let's have some fun here. So we got a copper bolt, copper with Zirc versus just copper. And boom. All right, so Okay, I do just really like this pen. The weight and everything feels very nice. This definitely feels more substantial, but I don't know if I'm gonna like writing with it more. That did feel good. And I don't feel any tip wiggle on this one. So that's interesting, because this one, I definitely had it until I threw some O-rings on the refill. Oops, this should be copper. Copper plus Zirc. This refill has less tip wiggle than this one. And I'm noticing that the refill, I should say this nose, I guess, this refill looks like it just sticks out a lot, like more than that. Yeah, that one has more tip wiggle than this one does. Very interesting. I wonder what the variability is on his refills. Or maybe if these noses are somehow different. It's a little too long of a nose to really be able to see in there. But let's do a little tinkering around just for fun here. This pen just feels great, so I feel like I just want to leave it alone. This copper will patina, of course. Some people love that, some people do not, but it will. In fact, there's already a couple spots right there, but not much. This thing came pretty nicely polished. I do really want to throw a couple of these Zirc parts on the titanium pen and see how that feels, because I feel like the extra weight could be really nice on there. So let's do what we can. I don't think I can get this top cap off. I think I would need some, like a rubber band on there or something. That just feels very tight. Yeah, that top cap is not coming off. So I think the only thing I can really do here is swap the nose. Let's see, that's going to change things around in terms of like where the weight is on the pen, maybe a little bit of the acoustics. Let's see what we think here. Assuming that this can go together. He did sell a few titanium and Zirc versions, I noticed. Okay. And this one, this refill already has O-rings on it, so I'm getting less tip wiggle than I was over here. Very nice. The weight barely changed, like you don't really notice it. But since the pen seems to be a little back heavy with the pocket clip and the bolt and everything, I feel like that did sort of balance it out a little more. And that was something that I kind of described as feeling a little cheap, was the way I said, the way I put it. So this sort of makes it feel a little better. Let's do a quick weigh-in on these parts and see how they compare. So we will just go nose to nose really quickly. So titanium nose, 0.165 ounces. It's not that big of a difference. Wow, that's less of a difference than I expected. Let's do pen to pen here against the copper. Although I am kind of curious to weigh the copper nose by comparison really quickly, since we're on the noses. Let's do that really quickly. Wow, way heavier. So maybe you throw that on the front of this if you really want to weight it down. All right, let's tinker around a little bit. Oh, we were going to weigh copper pen by comparison. So you have 0.86 ounces. This, right, to me is about, for like constant writing, this is about perfect for me, up to about an ounce. This is going to be a little heavier, but it's going to feel more substantial. 1.54, sorry. Trying to do too many things at once, trying to reassemble this other pen. So way, way heavier. You're talking about, 60% heavier pen than that. And then 1.31, significantly less than that. You got the milling out of the copper and you got the Zirc parts that are going to be lighter there. But I don't think I acknowledged that that was going to be so much heavier than that. That's like almost a 1/4 ounce heavier than this. And then you got this over here. So now I'm really curious how that would feel with this nose, the copper nose over here on this pen. And actually, what else would be really cool? Would be the copper bolt in the tie pen. I feel like that would make for a really neat looking, feeling pen. You'd get a little more of the weight up here as well. That could be really neat. So if you go, this will take you from 0.855 to 1.025. Okay, and then let's see how that feels writing with this. Now you're further moving that weight up towards the nose of the pen. Now it's really well balanced, like right dead center. This feels just about perfect to me. What's interesting is that now I'm getting tip wiggle, and I wasn't over here. That's so interesting. And then, it's kind of inexplicable because this refill has that on there. So I wonder, if there's some tolerance things going on there. His bodies are very loose. That's going to play a huge factor. If you don't have that body tight around the refill, that's very, very influential. Yeah, now I have like no tip wiggle. That's really interesting. So, interesting to be able to get a couple more examples in here to compare. And sometimes, you just put them in a certain way and you're going to get a little less wiggle because the refill might not be straight or whatever. And now I'm feeling less on this one too. Well, again, this just continues to be a pen that very much impresses me for the price. You've got 2 of these pens for 50 bucks each on the table. One for 100, that includes zirconium parts. That's just really good value. And a milled body. If you were to get a competitive pen like that from Q3D as an example, and maybe it's a bad example because he has external machining companies, but this pen would probably cost twice as much from Q3D, and it's a pretty similar pen. And this full Zirc one, of course, was much more. I paid over $300 for this full Zirc. But I would say the bolt is as good, if not better, on the Right Choice Paint Company. I'd say better. It has a little less wiggle. These have always had just a little bit of play in them. Yeah, these are just a little tighter. The thing I'll say about the Q3D though is the bodies are thicker. So I would guess the bolt on this is narrower because I think the overall diameter is the same. I think these are both 3/8 inch. I think the bolt in here is narrower and the body is thicker. It looks like it. You can really see it. If I'm just looking at it, you can see how much thicker the walls of the body are on this, and that makes it feel nicer in hand. Very similar designs otherwise, though. They're shockingly similar. Pocket clip, I actually like this pocket clip a little more. He also makes a fully milled pocket clip that's definitely a step up, but now you're getting into the, pretty expensive if you get a full milled on his pocket clip. This is just very impressive what, the Right Choice Paint Company's putting out here. That is a nice pen for $50. Feels so good in hand, substantial. I'm excited he's going to do a brass run coming up here, and then he's going to do a full Zirc. And that full Zirc to me is going to be one of the best pens ever made dollar for dollar. I have a feeling just based on what I'm seeing here, because he's getting a nice polish on this Zirc. This is just as good as Q3D polish. Look up at the nose there. That is going to be one of the most impressive dollar for dollar pens ever made in a full Zirc, because it's going to probably be what, like 150 bucks, 125, 150, $100 to $150 for full Zirc. Now, if he does it on the pocket clip too, that would be really sick. That would really just kind of take it to the next level. Very cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. If so, please feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you to Jim, I believe it is, over at the Right Choice Paint Company for selling me a couple of very nice pens. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Feel free to throw something in the comments if you have some thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.